Welcome to the Behavior Code podcast. I'm Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, and this is the Behavior Code where I'm talking about the code of behavior between men and women, personal evolution, maturity, all sorts of things that are related. I have a guest. He's my roommate, Fernando Caro. He's a real estate agent. We've had him on the show before, and he's up and coming rising star, far ahead of where I was at 23, is it?
23, yep.
Damn it, I remember when I was 23. Man, I got my first girlfriend at 23 and it was terrible. It was horrible. I hope she hears this one day. You were the worst relationship in all of human history. But that's what I needed to evolve. And this is where I am. And now I'm rooming with you and three other guys here in San Jose. And that's what we're talking about right now because we just ran a huge training for a house. I mean, it's like a temple here. We just ran a very successful training out of this house during quarantine. And we're going to do it again. And this is really cool. So I just wanted to bring my roommate on. And first, I'll just say, let's check in with you, bro. What's going on with you? Let the audience know how you're doing.
Thank you, brother. Well, it's been about a week since I moved into San Jose from Los Angeles, California. Now, any word I put on the experience of what it feels like to live here each day would be a disservice because it's a feeling that it's difficult to transmute with words and symbols. Now, I'm going to do my best to say what it's been like living here on base 1408. But one thing I do want to acknowledge first and foremost is, living a life that I've always wanted to live, as far as I know, right? Because this is truly the lifestyle that I've, in my deep core heart, always wanted to live, right? And
what is this, when you say this, what is this lifestyle?
Well, the lifestyle of a warrior monk, right? And it begins with the process that we're on. This is a specific process that we're living that has been taught to us by our teacher, AZD, Raj Zapar Dibazar. And to be living and saying, I live with my mentor, my teacher, that right there is just so profound to me. It's like every time I step outside, I'm just like, damn, fuck, this is reality now.
Yeah,
which was
right.
Once, I was looking to manifest $25,000 to study with AZD for 3 days. And now I wake up every day and see him beasting out at 4 a.m. And that right there is just alone so much that I can take. But I mean,
what is
yeah,
beasting out? What's beasting out at 4 a.m.? What does that mean for the lay person?
Yeah. So beasting out is the process. It's a philosophy, living philosophy that we embody, right? So as a warrior monk, some of the processes or some of the things that we embark in every day is sleeping on the floor. If you look behind me, there's a yoga mat. Every day I sleep on the floor, and just as long as every other beast who's on this process, we sleep on the floor. We wake up at 4 a.m. Immediately, I take a cold shower. Now, I'm constantly engaging in activities that truly test my willpower, test my ability to go forward in the resistance of life. To stay and sleep on the floor is nothing one is excited about, or to take a cold shower at 4 a.m. is nothing to be excited about. To wake up at 4 a.m., I would never say in my life that I'd be waking up at 4 a.m. But this is part of the process that has allowed me.
How long have you been doing this so people get an idea? Like, how long have you been waking up at 4 a.m.?
4 a.m., it's been about 3 weeks now, but I began at 5:30, which was a big deal for me. Prior to beginning this process 3 months ago, the beast process, I was waking up 8, 9, having trouble waking up early, and I constantly was beating myself up in a depressive state almost. Not depressed, but in a state that didn't allow me to initiate and go get everything I wanted in this world, meaning business, friendships, clean communication lines, because I was constantly in my own mind, trapped in my own ideas, in my own ruins to say, man, I'm not the man of my fucking word. Now it's a life that's clean. I'm out of my mind and clean with my communication, clean with myself, because I'm honoring my word. And as my integrity and my ethics continue to rise around 5 or 4 men who are clean and ethical, more so than anyone I've ever met, that allows this energetic pool to keep me gravitating towards these effects. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, that's super powerful. I want to get, how do you know, you say some really powerful words, and I want to say, how do you know that you're being true to your word? Is it the waking and the morning routine because you're following through with that? And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like you tell yourself, I'm going to wake up at this time, then you do.
Mhm.
So there's an example of following through with your word. And then you tell yourself you're going to take a cold shower, and then you do. And there's another example of following through with your word. Is that what you mean? Like through the process, you just keep
Yeah.
doing the morning process as you say you will? And is this what you mean by, or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100% is staying true to my word. See, I truly believe that the biggest battle one will face is that morning wake up and how we set the tone for the day. Now, when you do something that's pushing the boundary of your resistance or the boundary of your comfort, I'm not someone who could say that I would wake up in the morning. I would. I'm the guy that would sleep in till 8, 9, 10 sometimes, right? Because I just resisted waking up. Now I've finally achieved on a consistent level a process that allows me to wake up at 4 a.m. and begin my day when the whole world is asleep. Now this positions my own state of mind to say, hey, fuck, I'm now winning. I'm now vibing on a frequency that allows me to, just bring this force to life. Where prior I was constantly beating myself up because I couldn't even honor my fucking word to get up at the time I wanted to get up, whether it was 7 a.m., 6 a.m. But now it's the accountability is high. And I look at my brothers and I look at everybody in my environment, and this is not a tribe I want to let down. So, you know, that's me keeping my word, and that seeps in throughout the whole day. It starts with the wake up, it starts with the cold showers, it starts with the AM rituals that begin to transcend my life, my lifestyle, and everything else I do. The more I can honor myself in the AM, the better I can serve my communities, my friends, my family, everybody in my life later on in the day after I begin my process serving myself.
Brother, I want to ask you, because what a powerful phrasing. What a motherfucking powerful phrasing to say, to transcend my lifestyle. Holy shit, did that blow my mind right there when you just said that, transcend my lifestyle. I was just like, you just turned my eyes inward, and I was like, whoa, dude, what a cool combination of words that really summarizes a big chunk of what's happening, is transcending my lifestyle. Wow. That's just so cool. It was just mind blowing. And yeah, it was, serving, man, you make it sound so good. Like, is it just as simple as people, let's say you just gave a lot of the architecture of it. I mean, there's a lot of mental processes that happen through these things. How do you talk to yourself? What are some images you put there? This is what happens through the coaching with AZD, both when he has a chance to talk with you one-on-one in the group, but then also just the general group lectures. You get the technology of how to work this system. But is it as simple as like, okay, if somebody just in the audience, they were just like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to wake up at 4 and I'm going to take a cold shower and then I'm going to exercise after that. And what's the difference between that, or why couldn't somebody just do that? Or could somebody just do that and get to where you're going? Do you see that? Could you have done, if you had known how to do what you're doing right now, could you have just done it on your own if it was like written in a book?
I don't believe so. Because beyond, the daily activities that we engage in, you would be very high level in whatever you do in your day, very productive. However, more so than the actual actions, it's the philosophy that rides these actions. It's the philosophy that backs and fortifies and strengthens. It's the bridge that holds two worlds together, meaning my world, my inner world, and my outer world. And it's the philosophy that keeps me grounded and with my head high and strong, because we've got to be men of a living philosophy. Now, where do these philosophy come from? Well, we have our mentor, AZD, our teacher, who we live with, who we begin to now see a man who conducts himself at the most ethical, the most disciplined, the most true life. And when you don't have a reference of that, like let's say prior to living here in base one, I didn't have a reference of someone who was 100% honorable on their word or 100% ethical on their word.
Well,
Now,
let's go
when
into
you're,
that. Could you, because those are big words. They're
yeah,
little the big words. What do you mean by so ethical? Could you describe that? Because that's not real for somebody. I mean, that it's easy, I think, to take offense, maybe even where it's like, are you saying I'm not ethical? Like,
Yeah.
so what do you mean by the guy being so ethical and honorable?
Well, what do I mean by it is that this is a living philosophy, right? What I mean by that is there's words and then there's a living, there's an experience. There's people communicating and there's people doing and living. And when you're in the living, it's hard for me. Now I'm in the living. I'm not so much just seeing it from the outside. I'm in it, right? So it's hard for me to get the perception of, wow, like I'm seeing it from the outside as a spectator. I'm in this frequency or in this living. I don't know how to, break it down for someone that's to digest it. I get what you're saying, but it's difficult for me to say that because I'm in it, right? And what do I mean by ethical is I have yet to see someone carry themselves with, man, to find the words is difficult. Let's see. What do you think about that?
Well, thanks for asking. There's, I see a couple things. One, and this isn't like by any means like a definition of being ethical. Right. It's just what comes to mind when I'm thinking of the question. Is one, there's not static left in the air, you could say, unless it's intentional, like seduction, like a seductive static, or like, pulling, but if there's even seducing like a guy to get him to do something, like he probably does much, much more than I'm aware of, but because I studied a lot of his products and whatever, I see the techniques he runs on me to get me to do stuff. It's just kind of cool because it's like, oh, I see what works. Because it's like, it'll take me a minute to catch on to what's happening, or whatever.
I know what you're saying.
So that's fun. But so I don't mean that. I mean when there's like disagreement, how is that handled? It's funny because the guy is very aggressive, and you would, if you listen to him all day, he probably has many more arguments and raises his voice much louder than any of us. But so this is where the ethics comes in. The second part of it. So the first part was, you could call it conflict resolution. Like when there's tension in the air, what needs to be said to release the tension? So I don't know how, if that's even ethical. That's more of just being a really good communicator, I think. But I mean, you could be a good communicator without having the desire to resolve the conflict. So I guess there's an ethic there where it's like, I don't like there to be disharmony in my home. So there is those ethics, the ethics of like keeping harmony in the home, keeping it temple, and really not even keeping it, creating it temple. Every moment, just create the temple vibe, which comes with like respect, great communication, and discipline, and whatever, agreement. So the second part I'm saying, what's up, Studio Simba? It's my web designer there. You see the improvements happen on the Ninth Limb website with the podcast and everything. That's Studio Simba does that. Right. So, which reminds me, subscribe to this if you catch this YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all those, or anywhere else. And if you're on Facebook, then share it. Instagram, share it. The second part that I was seeing when you were asking about how he's ethical, would be similar to being logical and rational in one's actions. So knowing cause and effect, where is this going to go? Because that's why I say he conflicts a lot. He has arguments and raises his voice and stuff. Not any more than you would if you studied him. It's the same. He does it on lecture. Like he is how he is on lecture. That's how he is. Except he's actually like calmer and cooler. But that energy that he lectures with does come out like throughout his day. But it seems to actually resolve potential conflicts. Yeah. Like it seems to be in advance of bigger problems, which seems to happen when you have multiple women and the emotion, and then you're leading a lot of men and in a very, the subject of liberation from the cage of culture, the traps of culture, how enticing that is and how true it is, and how he has gained agreement from very smart people. I see Akash Inti is on, myself. I know a lot of the guys on here, not just with like college degrees, though that is a symbol of something, but everybody is intelligent. And I know that because I know what it sounds like to talk to a dumbass. And there's a lot of dumb people. And the men that I see online right now are not dumb. They're smart. When I talk to them, when I hear them talk, some of them even use basic language, but they somehow hit sophisticated concepts with basic language, like Donald Trump. So that's really cool. And So he has gained our agreement that there's a I forget where I was going with that, but he seems to be resolving conflicts that would come up before they happen. And man, I had already agreed to the idea that it's not going to be what I thought it would be, because if it was what I thought it would be, then I'd already know what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I've learned to trust. He didn't like that word, actually. I said that to him the other day a few times, and he was like, don't trust. Like, I guess another way of saying it might be, I've learned to have patience when I don't understand why, because I have confidence over so many examples over the last 5 years of him being right, basically. And in the times that maybe he wasn't so obviously right, he wasn't wrong. It was just like a stalemate kind of thing. And everybody's on the edge of their experience, like learning the cause and effect of their life to how do I get to the next level? What's the steps I need to take that create the effect of I'm at the next level? And so he does that. And that's what he does with the women. He teaches like 30, 40 women online. This is what he does with the guys. And it's amazing because he's doing it to everybody's at a different consciousness level. And he's giving each person the step to get them to their next level at the same time.
Mind blowing, man.
It's mind blowing, because then you need to empathize with the other people.
Yeah.
And so it literally blows you out of your mind, because empathy, you like take on their mind, kind of, you see through their eyes, and it's like it gets you out of your mind into their mind just a little bit, because of how he talks and he describes, like how I did with Johnny Freedom Ranger or with any of the guys. He brings their story to life with his language. And it's not a parlor trick. It's not hypnosis. It's not storytelling. It's not just lecturing or orating. It's experiential conversation, and with a lot of really cool awareness. And obviously the women is like a reflection of that or whatever. I wonder if every man, we should take a vote. If you had the ability to easily, like without a problem, really, not a problem, have multiple girlfriends at the same time, they're beautiful, loyal, only to you, would you? And I think the answer for most guys would be yeah.
100%.
Right? And so he's doing that. And that part is just like really cool to be around. So I don't know how that has to do with ethics, but I guess I could keep going on it, but I don't know that I want to drill it. Do you have any questions? Do you have what do you think about that answer?
I mean, you hit it. Your language is great. You put words that really simulate together meanings and concepts, such as ethics, right? In your perspective. Now, one thing I do want to talk about in my experience, just being here and living here, is the constant creation, not being the effects of our life, or not being the effects of society, or the effects of anything that's encumbering into your life. Truly, in this environment, it's a temple-like feel. It is a temple, right? The energy is so clean, and I believe it comes from the cleanness of our own communication and the conflict resolution, as you mentioned, right? As we begin to really dedicate our lives to ourselves, from the AM process down to where we begin to serve life, this is an experience that prior to living here, it wasn't something that was fully there, meaning I always in my mind had other things going on. Let's say if I wanted to, that process, let's say, what is it for someone to wake up at 4 a.m. and take the cold shower and do that without the philosophies, like on their own, right? To me, this living here, living in base one, living in a temple-like monk lifestyle has really allowed me to fully express what I've carried inside. It's allowed me to create what I want in life, meaning great communication, great relationships, study the things I want to study, take time for myself to really build a life that I truly love. And at the age of 23, why would I want to do anything else than really find down to the core of who I am and what I want in this world? You see, most people are presented a life and feel that they are chained to that identity, or chained to that career, or chained to whatever life they're living. Now here I find myself constantly reinventing, constantly creating, and not possessing that of my creations. And to me, that's one of the most fascinating things. Here I have my book that I write in every day. And every day I get to see, wow, the evolution, fuck. That's incredible, because as new ideas and new experiences that we live every day, because this is a life that you're constantly creating, as more ideas, as more realizations come throughout my day, and it's constantly every day. The evolution every day is, it's undoubtable. It's undoubtable. Like, I can't explain it almost. It's hard for me to assimilate the words to say my effects. But I know that when I engage with the world outside, meaning outside of here, I truly see the distinction of my practices here that allow me to truly serve life outside of here.
Man, you really slip into a trance like at the temple, because it's just so clean here. Like, not germ clean. It's just like, you just don't know how much, the analogy would be like Akash does yoga. Anybody that does yoga, like, you don't know how tense you are until you stretch it out. And then you're like, fuck, like and you only know you're tense now because you were looser yesterday. So somehow you only know how tense you are because you have a reference for being relaxed, or the opposite of tense. And you don't know how tense people are being out there, living with each other, just all the little tasks of life. They're complaining to each other while they're complaining to themselves, really, while they microwave their food or something. Like, the positivity, you could say. Anyway, I wanted
super positive environment, and that's an understatement to say, because I'll just leave it at that. What were you gonna say?
I lost it. I was going to say something. Oh, there was a question online, because there's some questions that are coming in, but some of them are better than others. So we're going to go with this one right here. Is because it's adversarial, and this guy's on Lion's Den, and it's a kind of adversarial question. So, but that's fine, because at this point, sometimes people don't mean to be adversarial. That's just how they speak.
Right.
Like, we know a guy that he just speaks adversarially, but every time we call him out, he's like, I didn't mean it that way. Like, and I genuinely think, because I see him work hard. Yeah. Okay. So, but then some people are snakes in the grass, like that Joe guy. Okay. So the question is, don't you think, just listen to the grammar of how, when a question starts, don't you think, obviously I don't, because I didn't say that. I said the opposite of whatever question you're asking. So no, I don't think, actually, but I'll go ahead and reword it for you. The question is, don't you think no one is ever wrong? That's just their way. So the question is, do you think that no one is ever, and the answer is obviously not, because I just said that there is right and wrong. People are wrong. It's wrong. Pedophilia is wrong. That's not their way. Get it? It's really easy. Rape is wrong. It's not their way. Now you say, well, you're going to extreme. Well, what's the next step before that? Just go a step before that, and a step before that, and a step before that, and a step before that. There is clearly right and wrong. You just got to get sensitive in the gray areas, because the gray areas is how the masses and the rulers of the planet mind controlled you into being manipulatable, if that's a word, able to be manipulated. They controlled you by giving you vagueness, and then convincing you that everyone's equal. And then you're fucked, because then how are you going to argue anything? As soon as you say anything ethical, someone's going to say, well, do you think you're better than me? Well, yeah, because I can see pedophilia is wrong and you can't, so I'm better than you. Fuck off. So
facts.
There's that. Facts. Hashtag facts.
Hashtag facts.
There it is. So I don't think it's their way. People, now what's right for them, who cares? Who cares what's right for them? What's right is going to be measured on a more macro scale of like what's beneficial to other people. Because that's you weren't here to be born and then die and not benefit anybody. You're just going to drain society. It's not going to be net zero. You're not going to go out of this world with, zero debt. You're either going to be creating something or you were drained on something. And that's just more facts. But his second question is,
there's part two, huh?
Yeah, there's a part two. Why would they only have to be loyal to you? So that's talking about the woman. Why would she need to? What? Because I was saying he has multiple loyal girlfriends that don't talk to other guys, and
I see.
And yeah. So why is loyalty a thing to seek in a relationship, Fernando? What do you think about that? Why are we admiring the ethics of a guy that can, because it's obviously not easy. Given the choice, the woman would talk with other guys if she could, because every time she gets in a fight with you, she's going to talk to the next closest guy to her, because there's biological reasons for that. I could break it down. I could break it down, but
You could easily break it down. I know this is your question. This is your money right here. I know. But I'm going to keep it simple for the vagueness, or like the broader audience. It's loyalty is motherfucking royalty. That's why. Why the fuck would I want unloyal, unethical people in my life? Where is their value to even be in proximity of whatever I'm creating? See, if there's something that I value and there's people who don't value that, who are trying to deteriorate my creations, that's an unloyal motherfucker. Get the fuck out of my life. Get out of my creations. I want people who contribute to my life, people who contribute to my lifestyle, or to my mindset, or to my ideas. And loyalty is one of those factors that must be integrated, especially if it comes down to the sacredness, if we want to say sacredness, of a relationship, right? What is a relationship without its loyalty? That's not a relationship, that's a relationship. And most people live relationships. I don't want that. I wanted to learn from a man who's conducted himself in a clean, ethical way. And see, I keep saying ethics without defining it, but to me, it's obvious by seeing it. And it comes from, what is that woman willing to exchange her loyalty for the protection and the leadership and the creations of a man who has created a world that, if you haven't seen, you got to get the fuck over here.
Because here's an example. Let's say we all had girlfriends and we got a girl, and we didn't know how crazy she was until 3 years later, that there was this thing that she couldn't get over. So let's say a man like Arash, he sees a girl and he knows she has that crazy, and maybe because of his experience, and I've seen it like this, he like can almost predict what kind of crazy it is, what's happened to her, what story she told herself about it, and how to overcome that to get her to the next level. And so to take on a girl as a girlfriend, you're taking on that responsibility knowingly. We all think we're taking on the responsibility of her crazy until her crazy is beyond what we can handle. And then we're like, oh, fuck, I didn't take that on, because you were unaware. So if you were more aware, you could be more ethical. If you're less aware, you're not as ethical. If you're more aware, you can say no to the woman that you don't want her brand of crazy. And that's being ethical. You don't have to take care of every woman. Or you don't say yes to women that you can't take care of, because that's unethical. Then you're robbing her vagina, and you're robbing her of finding a real man that would be able to take care of her. That time opportunity cost is different for a woman than for a man. There's ethics. So there was something else I was going to say. Oh, what was, one thing right before you said relationship, which was clever. So kind of, let's see. There was something that you said that, loyalty. Allowing anybody to destroy your creations, which is exactly what, are you listening, Instagram? It's exactly what another man will do to your relationship, because he don't care about your relationship with her. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to actively try to destroy nothing. Maybe he's just, trying to have easy time with her, and you take care of her.
I just want to say something real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sitting here, my window's right here. AZD passes by, and there's 5 women that walk right beside him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow. We're like on lookout. Okay. So just so you know, and they're not his 5 girlfriends, because one is over there and one is over there. So it's 3
girlfriends and 2 other girls.
Yeah. No, why are you sending me a live video? Don't do that. Come on, guy. Don't be weird like that. Okay. All right, so let's wrap this up. Where do we go from here? We got more questions. I guess we can answer. Do we have more that we should say about Base 1? Who's online right now that has not attended Base 1? Rick E., you should be here.
We can talk about Base 1 a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do more Base 1.
Base 1. Well, truth be told,
what have you seen about the experience of like the guys that came here for boot camps?
The experience of the guys who came here for boot camps. Well, one thing that's notable.
Boot camp here, and there's been some residents. What's that been like for them?
There's been one boot camp, a 3-day boot camp with Raj Pardi Bazaar, and then there's residents, 5 or 4 guys invested to stay here for 5 nights. And what I've noticed from the day they came to the day they left, now some notable names: Adrian. That man left a completely different person. Talk about change and evolution. You heard me spew evolution every day. I'm talking about my notebook, ideas, but I saw it outside of my own perspective in another man's archetype and another man's ability to conduct himself and another man's state of mind to change so rapidly is mind-boggling to say, because you look at the outside world and people aren't changing. People aren't changing. They're getting worse and deteriorating with the state of the fucking world and the bullshit they're fed with. You know, I don't even want to get into that, but what did I see? I saw 4 men evolve into men, stronger leaders. This is breeding leaders, men of value. This is, man, what else can I say? Jeez.
It's interesting. DC's been asking the question twice because he does this thing where he'll type it again. I really admire that. That's very persistent. Women will love that too. That's great. So immature, how do you not appear immature? So how do you appear mature? Well, I mean, it helps to be mature. How do you appear mature? I think one way is to slow down your talking. Another way is to relax your body. Another way is to exercise your body so you don't look like too young.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you appear mature? What else? What else would you say, Fernando? Anything?
Maturity, references that gauge, you know, qualities of leadership or alpha-like qualities. If you're a man, that will begin to see. I'm 23 years old, and many people are like, "Whoa, you're 23." I've gotten, dated girls older than me, way older than me, because it was my ability to conduct myself and my ability to express myself. I can only say that because of the experiences that I've had in my life, being around the people that I've been around, right? If I didn't have these experiences, or if I didn't have the fortitude to go out and create, for example, I can say I've matured so much more from the experience of manifesting $25,000 to invest in myself. That took me from a level of maturity to, let's say it's a meter. I jumped, the scale of maturity in my ability and my fortitude to go out and initiate and create. Where there was nothing, I created something. And as a man, you constantly create. And you're going to be wherever you're at right now, you're at your own place, right? You're at your own, what would be the word? You're at your own, wherever you're at, in life, your state of mind, your way of thinking, financial. All these are just factors of where you've matured. You see, people can be matured in relationships, but immature when it comes to finances, or immature when it comes to communication, but mature when it comes to, I don't know, anything, right? So that word is kind of vague, but I can just reference and say my experiences have allowed me to go out and mature, because I can look at people who are older in age, but not as mature when it comes to the values that I've attained from masters of masters in different fields.
Definitely. So we have time for one more question, then we have mentorship. So we have 5 more minutes. We'll close out now, and then we'll ask one more question. So if you're catching this recording, subscribe. If you're on social media, share it. And so final question from Ricky. I have a question for Fernando. Oh, wait, you didn't type it. Mr. Neil Kerr had a question for Fernando earlier. Mr. Neil Kerr, he says, what was it you believed was causing the resistance to break the discomfort boundary?
Okay, can you repeat that one more time? I missed it.
What was it you believe was causing the resistance to break the discomfort boundary?
The comfort boundary, most of it I would say would be conditioning and my belief system. How much did I believe in myself to live the life that I'm living? How much belief does it take to go out and move into a new city with 4 other guys, alpha males? How much belief? See, a lot of these barriers or traps that are integrated in our mind are the beliefs that were planted in us from our upbringing. So where was that place? Well, my upbringing, right? How I broke through was by continuously pushing myself at the finest edge of wherever I can grow in, whether it's in my process of beasting out, waking up at 4 a.m. and showering, or investing the money, or building a relationship with a woman of high caliber, a woman of high value, because I believe in myself. I believe in myself more than anybody. And so by that simple datum of saying I fucking believe in myself, I can override any limiting belief in my mind, because the limiting belief is a belief that is limiting you. That's it. It's in the word. But if I say I believe in myself to do anything in this world, to create or manifest or make any money, I'm going to earn my fucking stripes. I'm going to earn my position. And that's all I've ever done in my life. And every day I gauge that. I'm going to earn my position in life today. And I'm going to make sure life fucking hears me.
Yeah, definitely, brother. And I want to say, everybody online, you should definitely, at any expense, you should take out a card, take out a loan, go to PayPal credit, refinance your car, do whatever it takes, because when it's gone, it's gone. And the acceleration in your evolution, you don't know. It's just like the tension. You don't know until it's relaxed. And you don't know how far behind you are until you go forward. When you evolve forward, you'll see where you were and why your problems were where they are. It doesn't mean you transcend all problems. It means you get new problems. Yeah. And you got to fall in love with that, because if you're looking for a quick solution, if you're looking to fix your problems, that's not what this is. And that's not what anything is, really. So you're going to be chasing your tail for the rest of your life. At some point, you're looking to be on a path. And what we're talking about, what we've talked about the whole podcast, is the discipline, some of the architecture of the discipline, some of the philosophy of the discipline, and being around the fountainhead of the discipline and the practice and the philosophy. And this is where the events are taking place. So you can come live, it's $2,000. You can come online for 500. And you want to do this. So we need to go. Any closing words, Fernando?
Right here, I'll say, a woman that commented on my Instagram live, she says, "Hi, Fernando, you seem much more relaxed." And this is from the female perspective. Now, if that doesn't say everything to the males out here, now you're seeing the creations. Now you're seeing the manifestations of the practice, the practice that takes place every day, coming from a woman's perspective. And she's a pretty woman, you know.
There you go.
That's all I got to say. You know, if you're a man and you're seeking that, you're out trying to create, but you can't seem to get out of your own mind. Well, my friends, this is the place to come and create yourself. There it is. To finally liberate yourself from any limiting belief. And that's all I can say, truly.
Amen. There it is. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I love the live audience, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Behavior Code. Peace.